Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Etheria restart video, and today I'm going to do my super simple Yelli guide. Now, this is a character that's been out for a little bit and has gone through an interesting little arc in terms of community feel. When she was announced, everybody was like, oh man, this kit, insane. Those follow-up attacks, OMG, she's nuts. Then people got their hands on her, and their very first trial with her, she underperformed because they hadn't yet leveled her skills, they hadn't built her right, and if you don't level this character's skills and build her right, you're gonna be disappointed. That is the first thing I want to get across. This character requires some investment, so let me show you how to invest into her to make her one of those top tier light dark damage dealing characters. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to throw a little graphic up on the screen. This is Revelation. It is a shell, and it is the most important piece of gear on Yelli, in my opinion. I always run her with this shell because if you look underneath the little guy, you'll see what this shell does is every 3 turns, she's going to deal additional damage equal to 12% of the target's max HP. And again, that scales off of attack, so sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's a little less, whatever, but that's on a 3-turn cooldown. Then if you max her skill 3 Nightfire, you'll see that maxing it to skill level 5 reduces the cooldown by 1 and makes that a 3-turn cooldown. So that's the big deal. That's one of the first ways of unlocking the potential of this character, who again requires a lot of investment. You need to get Nightfire to level 3 or to level 5. You just kind of have to do it. Then I think you also really need to get Fluttering Flora to max rank as well. So we're talking about an 8 lattice investment into this character just to kind of unlock what her potential really is. Because by getting Fluttering Flora to level 5, it makes your first follow-up attack on a crit a guarantee. So she will always do that initial barrage from her skill 3, right? Which does 3 hits of damage, each one of them triggering the Revelation proc for 12% max HP damage. Then on the main target that she's hitting, she's also going to do at least 1 follow-up attack, which will again trigger that HP damage from Revelation, and she'll probably do more than 1, sometimes 3 or 4. And this allows her within 1 skill to be both a big AoE damage dealer and a good single target damage dealer. And that's kind of how Revelation, her skill 2 and her skill 3 unlock the potential of this unit. Now, I have not leveled Arrow Spark yet. I probably will at some point, but with lattices being as rare as they are, I'm going to move my perfect lattices that I'm going to gather this next week into other characters. But I do think it is worth to come here at some point and level this all the way up if she is going to be your main damage dealer. But for me, for now, max skill 3, max skill 2, run a Revelation shell on her, and she's good to go. Now, when we're talking about Revelation, let's talk about what matrix effects you're going to want. My Revelation that I'm running on her is not perfect at all because my god, I cannot shells are such an RNG fest in this game, and it's so frustrating. I can't get the one that I want for her after literally 3 days of only farming this content right here. Anyway, here's what I think you want. For early game, Onslaught, always a good choice, right? That 45% attack is going to help get her attack to that point where she is proccing that 12% damage off of Revelation. Everything scales off of attack. Having more attack is not bad. However, I think the best set combo for her is this. Fury, which is going to give you attack plus 10 and deal 12% additional damage with each critical hit. I think this is a great 8-piece set for her. Then I really like Kenai, which gives you crit damage, and since with her skill 3 and even with her basic attack, because she's going to be following up all the time, she's going to take real advantage of this instances of damage dealt from Kenai 12, where the first 3 instances of damage dealt by Animuses during their turn increase by 25, 15, and 5% respectively. I think you stack that damage increase with the Fury damage increase from the Fury set 8, and then put that all on top of a Fury Edge once you are capable of farming or unlocking this piece of content. So I think the ideal end game piece of shell gear for her is Fury Edge with Kenai and Fury, at least in my opinion. But look, I haven't got that yet to test it because my god, you just can't. So I'm running a mix of Onslaught and Kenai. So I've tried Momentum a little bit, but Momentum is pretty dependent. One of the big things you're going to want to make sure that you do with her, and I'll show this, is because her skill 3, when she casts it, gives her critical rate up by 30%. One of the things that this character does that other characters in this game don't do, the turn she uses this, does not count against it. It's like the only character in the game where this is true, where she essentially gets turn 0 when she uses her skill 3 of 30% up, then gets the next 2 turns with that buff on as well, which guarantees you 100% uptime on her critical hit rate buff. This character must crit to work. So when you're building her, notice I have her hovering right around 70% crit rate. Now with that crit rate buff, she's effectively a guaranteed crit character every single time she attacks, which guarantees at least 1 triggering of Fluttering Flora, no matter if she's skill 3ing or skill 1ing, whatever, she's always going to follow up attack. So don't overstack her crit. You want it somewhere around like 70%. Obviously I have 3% too much here. Then crit damage and attack are your other 2 main stats. You can tune for speed, give her more HP, whatever. Here's an example of the modules she's currently wearing right now for me, because again, I can't find the perfect shell. So I've gone with Fury Edge, Momentum, and Onslaught. The key here is I used the Momentum to get the 12% crit rate to avoid running a crit rate piece over here. You can see I'm just leaning all into attack with this current build. I have attack bonus on my Fury Edge. I have attack bonus on an Onslaught module, and then a crit damage one. So the goal when you're building her out, if you just want like a TLDR, is you want to be able to get her crit rate high enough where whatever you're coming into battle with, plus her 30% from her buff, allows you to avoid running a crit rate module on the right side. After that, just make sure you're like getting in what's your shell. For the shell's passive effects, I think Overclocking is a fantastic slot 1 passive effect. It's probably the best one on here, I would say, for slot 1, so I'm pretty happy with that. For slot 2, I have Penetration. Again, this is more raw crit rate, which is allowing me to avoid running crit rate gear. I just don't want to have to slot 3 a crit rate piece of gear, so I really like Penetration in slot 2. There are other good ones over here. If you find yourself like having to run a crit rate piece of gear, you could take crit damage. I mean, 30% crit damage is really dang nice. Speed's always good. Other than that, those are really the ones that I like there. I've heard people talk about running effect accuracy on this unit for like the buff stealing that she can do. I tend to run her more as a main damage dealing unit in line with somebody like a Messiah. And then my slot 3, holy crap, I wish she was a hollow Animus unit. Let's see. Let's just do a little thing right here. Watch this. We're going to see if we can roll this into something better for her. Watch how painful this is. That'd be decent for Rosa, I guess. Try again. Well, my character just got 10% better. There we go. So that's my favorite one over there. Constant Animus's final damage dealt by 10%. That literally made this character 10% more lethal. I love that roll that I just got. So this is a pretty dang good shell if I could just get the matrix effects down here at the bottom that I want. Other than that, when it comes to like running her in a team, I don't have a team currently built for her. You just want her to be like slow enough that your setup happens. She really, really wants an attack buff. She will give herself the crit buff with her skill 3, so you don't have to worry about that. But you want somebody to give her an attack buff. 2 good options that are free to play friendly. Valerian, who isn't using Valerian? Valerian will always be providing her that attack buff, especially if you guarantee that your Valerian starts the fight off with deep sleep. Another great option that I use all the time is Chiaki the Echo. Chiaki is going to be giving your whole team that attack up buff. So somebody like that, somebody that can give her the attack. If you're going for like a one-shotting build with her and you have access to Beyond 10, who can give the attack and crit damage buff, boom, that's great too. So somebody to give her an attack buff, that's really all she needs to start popping off and being the kind of carry, let's put her back on the screen, being the kind of carry you need for your team. So there you go, guys. That's my super simple Yelli guide. I hope she's doing as good for you as she is for me. I have been very impressed with this unit, even though it was like painful to pull for her. Zero regrets. I use her in all the content. And in fact, I'll end this by showing, I think I've said I'll end this a bunch of times. Ooh, come on. Crap, we'll throw that away, and crap, we'll throw that away, and then we'll run this again, because welcome to my life where this is like the only thing I farm. Okay, again, someday I'm gonna get one of those shells that's actually like perfect for her. It's close. Anyway, it's painful. If we look at my module farming, she allowed me to have a team that's reliable enough to farm Doki Doki Inferno on the regular. I can kind of show you what that team looks like. I'm not going to run it because the gear's all on different characters right now. Another problem the game runs into. But like, this is my Doki Doki Inferno team right now. She is the main damage dealing unit on that team, along with Silence or Rosa, whichever one I'm like rotating in or out. So she's there, and she's also in my other farming teams. The only thing I can't really farm on Inferno right now in terms of modules is Aurora, and I do think that she can be an Aurora farming unit. You can see even in the clear times, here's her with a Lily, where she is the main carry for that Lily. She's actually running Harvest Fury Edge. Harvest is an interesting one. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Harvest, but maybe this person knows something I don't. Anyway, there's their build. Again, right about that 70% crit rate. And then you just, again, they have Lily, so like they're just boosting. But yeah, you'll see her in here. So I think she's even capable of farming Aurora on the hardest difficulty. I don't have the supporting cast for that to happen yet. Someday I will. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Whoop, where's my face? There it is. Hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Peace.